Hey, what's going on YouTube? In this week's video, I wanted to cover Google Antigravity. For those that are not familiar with it, it is the latest AI agent IDE. And in this video, we're going to go ahead and do a step-by-step tutorial on how to use it and some best practices integrating with Git and setting up your first web application. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. A few things worth mentioning is definitely check out the website, as there are some use cases that might kind of give you some ideas on how this can be used. So head over to antigravity.google/product. And if you scroll down, you'll see a few videos. One of the coolest videos down here is you will see that they had set up an auto playing pinball machine just by prompting the product that we are going to cover today, and a few other products that they covered as well, a flight tracker app, and then this collaborative whiteboard app. All cool things and stuff to look forward to and stuff that you could build out yourself. Again, I want to also highlight another thing. If you click on pricing here at the top, you will see that currently it is in public preview and the individual plan is now $0 a month, and that has unlimited tab completion, unlimited command requests, and a generous rate limit. So if this is something you're interested in, definitely check it out now before we are going to be charged for it. Now, obviously, they're using some of the stuff that we are doing to kind of continue and build out this platform, I'm assuming. So be careful of that, or be mindful of that, I should say. And also, this is a brand new product. So one thing that I did to take some caution was I stood this up in a virtualized environment. So this is an Ubuntu desktop that is inside of a Hyper-V environment. This way it's not touching any of my personal computer or files. I recommend you do the same if you have that ability to do so. And to download it for Linux, go ahead and head over to antigravity.google/download. Over here on the right side, you're going to see a download link. Go ahead and just pretty much copy and paste this. You're going to add that to your package repository, and then you go ahead and you'll be able to install it pretty easy. Not too much going on there. So just for some testing, this was the first landing page that I had developed just with a few words. I just wanted to see how it all worked out and what use cases for just a simple landing page. In this case, I didn't prompt it or give it too much. I literally just asked for an example, and this is kind of what I got. With the bare bones. Looks pretty good. Nothing to complain about here. It's obviously very minimum. There's definitely going to be something that we want to add. One of the cool things that I also will highlight in this video is that, as you can see, we have an about page. In the first initial prompt, we didn't have anything. Now, if you go here, again, it was a simple prompt. I did not give it much, but I did ask it to generate some photos to be in line with some of the paragraphs on this page. And it went ahead and it used, I think, the Nano Banana, the latest model that generated these pictures. And I think it looks amazing, and it goes in line with the rest of the website. Now, just, you can ignore some of the text. Obviously, this is all irrelevant. This is just for testing, but you can see what you get away with just a few words inside of a prompt. Now, I had since moved this over to my Git project, which I will talk about in just a minute. But I kind of wanted to just walk through some of the initial prompts on how we got to what I just had displayed. So literally, like I said, it was very minimum on what I provided in that prompt. I said, create a simple landing page for a web app using React. At first, we had some problems, and I had to obviously install it, and it did not have the permissions to do so. So it says that the packages were not installed, and then here are my options, which is what I did. I came back, I said, okay, installed, and then went ahead and it initialized the React project, and it kind of gave us the bare bones of what we had just seen. And then here's all the various components that came with the landing page. Cool part is it went into actually verifying it, and we'll kind of talk about that in a minute. As you can see, it even says, I even asked it, can you run it and view it in a browser? And it actually says, verify. I have verified the landing page in the browser. It looks correct. I am now updating the walkthrough artifact with the screenshots and a recording of the verification session. So if we scroll down here to the bottom, you can see that updating walkthrough with visual proof. So if we click on view, you can see this is the various artifacts that came with that verification. So in this case, here's the hero section, here's the feature section, the about page. Some of this was from later on, as you can see, because this is what I prompted later on. So let's go back into here. And that's the next prompt that said, perfect, can we create an about page? And on this page, let's go ahead and be descriptive as possible for the test app. Also add some pictures in line with some of the paragraphs. Again, it was very minimum on what I provided in that prompt. We were able to get those pictures generated all by Nano Banana, and it looked perfect for what we were going after, at least just for some testing. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and make some changes using this and do some additional features for this web app, just to show you on how it's used and how to kind of walk yourself through this anti-gravity product. So over here on the left, so right now we're inside of like the agent manager, as you can see up here at the top left. Here are the different workspaces. Essentially, these are different chats inside of this anti-gravity -test folder. So here is essentially what I did here is when I created it, but then I wanted to initialize it using a Git repository. I created a repository and then I just copied those files over into here. And I had two chats. One of them I just wanted to make sure everything worked, so I asked it to run it and open it in the browser. Here was just some testing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a new chat, essentially start a new conversation inside of anti-gravity -test. And in here, we're just going to go ahead and say, create a new branch, feature -pricing, and then go ahead and work on adding a pricing page to the project. This pricing page should have 3 pricing models that can be purchased. Be creative in the design, but keep it in line with what is already being used on the website. All right, sometimes, depending on the command, it will be run. It will ask for your acceptance. In this case, it says git checkout -b, and here's the name of that branch, and that is exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and click on accept. So as you can see, it actually found that the feature pricing branch already existed. That was probably due to my testing previously. But to take it a step further, it actually explored the code base and found that, yes, it does exist. So let's go ahead and just check it out and not create a new one. And as you can see, it's already kind of developed that page, and it is starting the development server. It's going to go ahead and open up the browser, which is something that we had downloaded earlier. And if you haven't done so, it will prompt you to do so. And as you can see, it's kind of walking through the various tabs that it had created. In this case, the pricing tab, and it's looking at the design. Now, if we go back into anti-gravity, you're going to see that the verification of the implementation has been completed, and all of these tasks have been checked off. Sorry, I was on the wrong page, but as you can see, the verification has been completed. And over here on the right side with all the artifacts, kind of tells you all the steps that it had done, and then the visual verification showing that here's the recording of the verification process, and you can see that it actually goes into the pricing tab and then verifies the pricing. So if we actually go check it out ourselves, we can see if we go back to the home page, we now have the pricing, features, and about, which is what we talked about previously. But if we go into the pricing, this is the new page that was just created. It's pretty basic. Obviously, it just has 3 cards, but again, we gave it a simple prompt. But here at the top, you can see kind of a decent color scheme to go along with what we're already using. Choose the perfect plan for your needs. No hidden fees. Cancel anytime. And then as you see on most websites, right, you got this little pop up, but then you also got this most popular package for Pro, kind of making it stand out a little bit more. And then the details of each of the projects. So in this case, one project for the starter package, basic analytics, community support, and 1 GB of storage. And then if you use the Pro, obviously you get unlimited projects, advanced analytics, priority support, and the custom domain and so on. And then even in the enterprise version of it. So I think with that basic prompt, this did a great job in creating this pricing page. And then obviously if we continue to iterate on that design, we go ahead and prompt the AI, kind of create this out and make it even better. Now I want to show you something that you should be doing, especially if you're going to kind of do vibe coding or whatever you want to call this. I don't even consider this vibe coding at this point anymore, and it's going to just continue to improve. But one thing that you should definitely be doing and using in your workflow is Git, obviously for version control. So if any mistakes were made with AI or even yourself, you go ahead and revert back to a previous commit, and that will allow you to kind of reduce that troubleshooting time to get back to a stage where it was working. So let's go ahead. Over here at the top, you have a few different tabs. In this case, you have open browser, you have the toggle terminal, and then you have the editor. So click on that or click on Control E. Now that we are here, we should see that if we do git branch, we should see that we are now in that feature pricing branch. Since we liked all those changes, right, we can go ahead and just do a quick check of git status, and you can see that these are the different changes or files that were changed. In this case, the 2 untracked files obviously being the pricing CSS and the JSX. What we're going to do here is just going to do git add, and then we'll git status, and now we have everything ready to be committed. We're just going to do git commit -m, and we're just going to say initial commit of pricing feature. Perfect. And we're going to use git push, and we're going to push that to our remote repository. this case, since it's our first time doing so, we're gonna go ahead and just copy. We're gonna go ahead and just copy that git push. I know in this video we didn't go ahead and we set up everything, and obviously in this case you can see that I'm having some problems. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure that that key is added to my SS agent. All right, there you go. All I had to do was just add that key that I had set up and added it to my SS agent, and then I went ahead and just did a push. And now in our remote repository in GitLab, we now have these changes pushed up. If that is something that you're interested in, maybe I'll cover it in a different video, but I have talked about it many times in the past on how to kind of set up Git, how to use Git. But if that's something that you need me to go into more detail about, definitely drop a comment below and I'll try to get something out for you guys. All right, so as you can see here, we are now on GitLab. And if we go over here to our where our branches are, you can see that we now have that feature pricing branch, and we also have this here at the top. So if we want to create a merge request, let's say this is something that we're going to keep. In this case, we could just go ahead and create a merge request, and then we could merge it into our main branch. This way, it's just part of the main going forward. And anytime we could create a new feature, we could do it off the main branch and not have, you know, different features. And that's going to close out today's video. In today's video, I wanted to kind of give you a quick overview of using Antigravity and how to set up your first web application. I think in another video, we're going to kind of go literally step by step and show you on how to do it. And we're actually going to create something that is more useful. In this case, I just want to kind of see for myself and even how this could be used. In this case, I found it to be very useful, and I think you can as well. Only going to improve as time goes on, and I look forward to creating more videos using this. So if you have any suggestions or anything that you're interested in, definitely drop a comment below. And as always, never stop learning.